Okay, I'm just going to add this. I'm going to try to put enough background on here. I turned to the social media because the law hasn't worked for me. I wrote about mind control murders done in patterns, which have continued and been deliberately done and can be proven, just like the 33 at Georgia Tech that was done April the 16th of '07. And the Fort Hood shooter was from Vinton, Roanoke. He finished school. He was a psychiatrist, by the way. He's on death row. Finished college at Virginia Tech. So this goes back to Atlanta a long time ago, me trying to tell about it. I worked for doctors, etc. I had antifreeze put in me April Fool Day of '80. After I'd done the book, after I got the letter from the FBI, and when my son, one thing what I just put on the tape prior, and you can't get it on one tape, was that Laura May Childers, this is John Guy Childers, the man I married, that's his sister. She was CPA on the CPA firm in Austin, Texas. She lives in Lockhart, and I'm putting their names down because nobody in this has been arrested or even paid for the crime. Nothing except me ongoing paying for their crimes they're doing to me. She lived in Abilene then. I thought if I could get away, I'd done the book, and I attributed all the stuff that was going on to my sons, Mark and Scott, to the book. The doctors in it, Larry McDonald, congressman, urologist at Piedmont, and murders that happened there. Warren and Rosina Matthews were killed. They were forensic pathologists there. This is Cobb County, Marietta, Georgia, by the way. I just showed my son Scott. By the way, I don't know where Mark and Scott are. I haven't in a long, long time, and that's the point I'm going to make here. If it sounds garbled, I have made so many tapes, and I have lived in HEWM every step of the way of my life, and I'm 76 years old right now as far as I know. I was brought here, and I'll say this again, in '41, given the name of a twin. This woman was a mother, and she killed them. They were born out of wedlock, and I'm Margaret Ann Windsor, Victoria II, and I really am, to the British Crown. I was kidnapped by Joe Kennedy, ambassador, my own uncle, George VI, illegal, Elizabeth's father, so they're illegal. So you see, they held me as hostage. My father married Claudia Ruth O'Keefe Windsor, sister to artist Georgia O'Keefe, American. My father never married Wallace Warfield Simpson. She married a double, imposter. So the Illuminati, the Freemasons, helped take my father down, remove him illegally, and kidnap me, Victoria II. So if I were able to go back, because it's the illegal treaties and the crimes that's been committed against me and the British and against the Germans. Some Americans tried to help me, but it's been the British citizens and the Germans and some of my family there that helped. Some of the Windsors helped kidnap me, my Uncle George. Joe Kennedy was ambassador, and JFK flew in. So there you get, mind control was used in their shootings, Martin Luther King, JFK, and that's the reason Warren Committee covered it up, because it lead back to exposing my kidnapping and the takedown of my father and take down the British government, or the attempt to. Anyway, I wrote about mind control murders, and Larry Flint was one of the persons shot in Lawrenceville, Georgia. And so that I don't try to give all the background on it, I just want to get this on here. I'd written about mind control murders, and Warren and Rosina Matthews were murdered because they knew too much, and one of the people that was first charged, the woman, was hypnotized. So you get into this time period, and Tom Sharon, I was going to his office begging for help. I lived in Moonraker Apartments off Delk Road. Larry Flint was shot in Lawrenceville during that time. and the person that shot him was programmed. So I'm going to jump from there and just put this on here so that I get it on here. My ex-husband was John Guy Childers. Laura Mae Childers, certified public accountant, was the one that lured me out there, telling me I could come out there and live with her, find a job she'd help me, and I could get my kids out of Atlanta. And I didn't know about my real name, the real reason that all this was happening. I thought it was because of the book and the names in it, because I had a lot of doctors and Emory University and Center for Disease Control in the book too. And one doctor I want to mention, and it was The Power of Psychiatry was the name of his book, the last one, I believe, that he wrote before he was murdered. It was Jonas Frobisher, and he was doctor, and he was head of law and psychiatry at Emory. So I'm going to leave that there. Laura, when I left to go out there and try to, what was so odd, I was going to try to change my name. I didn't know it had already been changed, and I didn't know it. I was going to try to get my kids away, and I thought it was the book. And in part it was, but most of all it was who I am. And I got to Texas, and by the way, at Dallas, and I called her. I said, I'm here, and she was living in Abilene, Texas at the time. She's in Lockhart, Texas now, and had a firm, CPA firm in Austin. So she told me at the time, just prior to leaving, it was fine. Now then, I'm out there, almost there, and she tells me that I can go back, that I can't come anymore. So she lured me out there with John. When I got her brother, John Childers, her name is Laura Mae Childers Klein. I made it back, and to find out that in the few days I was gone, John Childers had been allowed, illegally, all of it illegal, at on Bentley Road, Laurelwood Apartments. He had been allowed to steal go in and remove my furniture. It was my lease, my deposit, nothing else entered into it. He removed it, and they let him rent an apartment using in other words, he just transferred my furniture and used my deposit to lease a new apartment within the same complex, and I was left with nothing. When I got back, I had no key, and in other words, Lois Pearson was one of them that helped. I'm going to say her name, that helped get me to where they put antifreeze in me. Now then, my ex-husband had done this, so he was a part of it, and God knows the doctors and how many people wanted me dead. For reasons I didn't know, because of my name, and my children in jeopardy. Because Mark and Scott are heirs after me, and we are. It's legal. It's a seal put on it, a 99-year seal. So they put antifreeze in me, and the hell that went on there is unreal. Now, Larry Flint flew me out there. I'll say that again because the person that shot him during this time, March the 6th of 78, that I was writing the book, was programmed. They're programmed to shoot or kill. In essence, they're victims also, although people don't like to believe it. Just like the Tucson shooters when Mark and Scott Kelly. Mark Kelly is an astronaut, and so Scott. That was the shootings in Tucson with Gabby Gifford. Mark Kelly is married to Gabby Gifford. So this is my sons, Mark and Scott, heirs after me. And by the way, this is probably going to sound garbled. What I wanted to say was I found out the antifreeze, I was shoved into a car and sent back to Moulton, to Huntsville by this woman that had helped in my kidnapping, in that they brought me over there to that pigsty farm, and she killed her twins, Peggy and Carl. They gave me the name of Peggy, and that's how I grew up. Now, this tape's going to go off, and I wanted to get this woman's name on here. This was all pre-planned. This woman, her name is, I just found it, Twila Joyce Pelland. She lives in Rutledge, Georgia. She had lived in Lawrenceville, where Larry Flint is shot. She lived in Smyrna when all this happened to me. She married John Childers. This was planned. I can't find the date, but she married him right after the antifreeze was put in me, and I was shoved in a car. I should have died. And across the state line was Lina Dempsey. And by the way, Philip, he's